So let's talk about Ed and Eddie. I'm sure if you've been on my channel, you're probably like, Chandra, what are you talking about? You already did an Ed and Eddie video. What's going on? Well, think of this as more of an update for Miniature Monday in general, but as like, finishing the Eds, because let's face it, in the original video, I just kind of showed you how I modeled them, and I printed them out, and that's it. Like, they're not complete or anything, and I feel bad about that, and I would hate to continue on with this series that I'm gonna consider a staple of my channel without actually finishing the Eds. So think of this as like a prequel to how I want Miniature Monday to be, but like kind of in between too, because let's face it, like it's gonna have better production than this video, but think of this as like a step into it rather than how it was before. So yeah, let's actually talk about Ed and Eddie. So growing up, Ed and Eddie was a show that I watched with my younger brother, and I really enjoyed it. And I just gotta honestly say that it has always stuck with me, and it's one of my favorite cartoons even to this day. I won't say it's my favorite cartoon, but it's definitely one of the favorites. But like, did anybody else ever feel like Eddie wasn't actually like a child, and he was just like a grown man who was like in a kid's body, or even just like I don't know, like he just never seemed like a kid. Like he just seemed like a used car salesman that was like a con artist, and like yeah, he was a con artist, so he like fit the bill, but like I never saw him as a kid. Like how old were they supposed to be? Like 10, maybe 12 or something? Like I don't remember, but like as kids, like I don't see them as kids. Well, Eddie specifically. Ed, like he seemed more like a dumb like teenager in a way to me, and then like Double D, like all three Eds kind of give off like more teen vibes. So like not older teens obviously, because they all end up going through like a lot of childish things that happen, but at the same time, like I just never felt like as a kid these were kids that I should relate to. Like you watch Kids Next Door and you're like, oh yeah, like I'm like them, blah blah blah. Obviously in your head and when your imagination and everything, you're like, oh dang, like I'm part of the K and D. But like when you watch Ed and Eddie, or at least with me, when I watched Ed and Eddie, I never saw them as kids. I was just like, yeah, yeah, they're going through kid antics, but are these children? Everybody else in the cul-de-sac, a lot of them, like, felt more like kids. But, like, I don't know. But either way, it's like, I really enjoyed the show growing up. And, obviously, they didn't have any merch at the time. Like, nowadays, you might go somewhere like a Hot Topic, or, like, somewhere in the mall, or just, like, even somewhere like a Walmart, and you might see, like, a vinyl figure, like a Pop, like a Funko Pop or something. And you're like, it kind of looks like them, but at the end of the day, you're just like, yeah, like they're not shaped like the character. It's always like a collectible thing where they'll have like a standard mold for the body and maybe like a like custom head, but besides that, like all the figures have like the same body silhouette, and their heads are like maybe whatever the character is, just so it can be a little more diversified. But like there was no like toys or action figures or anything for Ed and Eddie. I mean, like I get it. It wasn't something like Ben 10 where you have like aliens and transformations and like things like, oh yeah, this makes sense to have an action figure. But like I would have loved to had like, the kids from the cul-de-sac, and have my own imaginary adventures that you have with your toys and your action figures and stuff. Or heck, like something that I can have on my shelf. I believe there was a figure, maybe a statue for them. But besides that, like, as I said, it was just the generic stuff that, gets just pumped out every once in a while to feed on somebody's nostalgia. But yeah, so I just really wanted to make these models and paint them and get them to you know, essentially be something that I will eventually just stay on my shelf. So once again, guys, thank you for watching this video. I know this one was a little bit different and it's going to be a lot shorter, but in the future I'm going to be doing more Miniature Mondays. I won't say it's going to be every Monday, but on Mondays you can expect there to be like videos like this where it's a cartoon or a video game or just something I like, and on Monday I'll post videos of me modeling it and then printing it and then painting it, and heck, maybe later I'll end up making something like dioramas and stuff to go with it, so you know, it can make it a little more interesting. So if that interests you, make sure you guys hit that like button. That way YouTube knows that you want me to make more content like this, so they can start boosting my channel out to other people so they can see my stuff. And of course, you know, subscribe, especially if you're new. That way it's like you know what I'm posting, because if you don't subscribe, trust me, I will be buried in the abysmal sea of YouTube. Like, there's so many videos up here. But once again, guys, thanks again for stopping by. Remember to take care of yourselves and to always stay spooky. All right, see ya.